Louis Vuitton's men's fragrances have just been launched, and I was able to preview them a day before at our San Francisco Louis Vuitton boutique. I ended up picking up a bottle a day before. I'll tell you what it is. Plus, I'm gonna do a giveaway of 5 samples, 5 of the men's fragrances from Louis Vuitton worldwide. All coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. This is Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time on this channel and still haven't subscribed and love watching fragrance reviews, discovering new fragrances, discovering new brands, participating in giveaways and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Yes, finally, Louis Vuitton has launched 5 men's fragrances, almost 2 years after they launched 7 women's fragrances. The women's fragrances came out in 2016, August. They also launched 1 women's fragrance earlier this year. I felt that the women's fragrances were feminine, but still wearable by men. There were several in there that were kind of very unisex to me. And I have all 8 of them now. My 3 absolute favorites are Apogée, Les Jours se lèvent, and Rose de Vence. Rose de Vence and Apogée were launched in 2016, and earlier this year, Les Jours se lèvent was launched. Love those 3 fragrances. They're very, very easy to wear. Floral freshies. If you like freshies with a floral twist, definitely check those out. But the other fragrances in that collection include Contre Moi, vanilla, Dans le Pot, floral leather, Matière Noire, an earthy patchouli, a fruity earthy patchouli, a Milfaux, another floral leather. Then you also have Turbulence, which is tuberose and jasmine together. So now we have 5 men's fragrances, which include Orage, Hasard, Nouveau Monde, Sur La Route, and this is a tough one to say, L'Immensité. So 5 fragrances. There is a 6th one that's supposed to be launching. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry, I'll put the name down. But the 6th one that's launching is considered a unisex fragrance, men and women. But from our Louis Vuitton boutique here, I find out that it's exclusive to the Middle East. It's one of those like really intense Middle Eastern style fragrances, and also it has a big hefty price tag. It's $700 for the Middle Eastern exclusive fragrance. But I wasn't able to smell that one because they didn't have a tester, and I was also told that it was kind of launching a little later after these 5 launched. So they said they might be able to get a tester in, we can sample, and we might be able to order, but it's going to be just sold or stocked in the Middle East. I think Dubai was one of the places they mentioned. So the fragrance I picked up at Louis Vuitton when we sampled these fragrances is called Orage. So when you translate Orage, it means thunderstorm. So my bag's here, and I've got samples in here as well. The samples I'm going to be previewing outside of Orage, which is what I picked up. And this is Orage in a box like this. It's very similar to the women's fragrances. And the cool thing about these fragrances, they do come in 2 sizes. I think it's a 200 ml and a 100 ml. The 200 ml could be a 250 ml. I haven't purchased any of those, but I do have every single one of the other ones in a 100 ml. And Orage really, really stood out to me. And the notes for Orage, again, it means thunderstorm. Notes Bergamot, Java vetiver, iris, and patchouli. So the cool thing about these fragrances also is that they are refillable. So if you run out, you can always refill them at a later time. You have to go back to a Louis Vuitton boutique, but the cool thing is they are refillable. So let's open this one up. Presentation is similar to the women's fragrances. So right here is Louis Vuitton, and Orage is on the top. Right up on top you have the Louis Vuitton logo. And so the fragrances open up like this. And then it's a tube inside, and I found these tubes to be kind of similar to Dior's Privé collection. But I found out, well, the thing is, they're similar because I think François Demachy, who is the head perfumer for Dior, and Jacques Caballé, who is the head perfumer of Louis Vuitton, supposedly work near each other in the south of France, and it is owned by the same parent company, of course, Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy, LVMH. So perhaps that's what the similarities are. The other thing I found out is that Dior is no longer going to be doing the cylindrical boxes anymore. So I don't know how true that is, but maybe if you know, please put it in the comments below. The thing here is the top of these tubes is dark on this one, and compared to the women's fragrances, they're goldish. So these are dark. So I guess maybe that's the twist for the men's fragrances. But I also want to mention, I've sampled all these fragrances lots of times now, and I sampled them all at the Louis Vuitton boutique. And to me, even though they are masculine leaning, and men will find these more appealing, I found them to be very unisex. Whereas the women's were definitely more feminine, but still unisex leaning. These are, even though masculine, they're definitely unisex leaning. So this is the tube that the Orage comes in. And that's Orage right there. So Orage was to me all about patchouli, and you know me and patchouli, absolutely love patchouli, and it was a given this one was one that stood out for me the most. But I was quite impressed because the first one we sampled at Louis Vuitton is called Sur La Route. That one stood out a lot. I'll tell you all about that one coming up. I have the samples and I'll spray them for you. But Orage is pretty darn amazing. To me, it's a very, very green patchouli. Of course, that vetiver is in here, so it's vetiver and patchouli together. To me, it kind of, I thought I was going to smell something similar to GVWY's Incident Diplomatique, but to me, this one is more similar to Diptyque's Tempo. So if you like Diptyque's Tempo, you're definitely going to like this one. So there's Orage. Let's go ahead and spray it. I'm going to spray this one on me, and I'm going to spray the samples on strips. And one thing I want to mention, again, I've mentioned this in other videos, the sprayers for Louis Vuitton's fragrances, amazing. Top-notch sprayers, absolutely amazing sprayers, the best sprayers ever. Similar to Dior sprayers, but I found the Louis Vuitton fragrances spray just a little better than the Dior fragrances do. And absolutely gorgeous. Lots of citruses, green vetiver, slight bit of powderiness from the iris, but it's patchouli. You've got to love patchouli. But this is not like a hippie patchouli. If you like patchouli, you will like it modern with other fragrances. This is definitely one to check out. And even though this, again, is masculine, targeted to men, I find it to be very unisex. And it does remind me or hint at Diptyque's Tempo. So that's Orage. So the rest of the samples are in here. Actually, I have a sample of Orage in here as well, but I have a second box of samples here, and I'm gonna let one of these boxes be the winner's box. I think probably the flat box, it'll be easier to mail. But let's go ahead and sample the rest of the collection. All right, second one we're gonna do is Hasard or Hasard, this one right here. So this translates to randomly, so it means randomly. And the notes here are Ceylonese sandalwood, Ambrette seed, and cardamom. So I've been really falling in love with Ambrette seed lately. It's musky. I don't know, Chanel number 18 is really, really gorgeous. Ambrette seed dominant fragrance, and I have to thank Beauty Meow for that one because she had recommended it to me. It's a fragrance I never saw on display at our Neiman Marcus, which sells the Chanel Les Exclusives collection. But I asked and I had it, of course, but I picked up a bottle recently and I love that fragrance. And Hasard kind of reminds me of that because of the Ambrette seed, but it's a lot different. It's got that sandalwood, you can pick up the sandalwood, it's creamy, and then it's got this like aromatic spiciness from the cardamom, which first I thought it was not my favorite, but then I kept coming back to it because I like the fact that it's almost laundry clean, like smelling fresh linen or fresh laundered clothing or sheets or things like that. But then you start picking up this like underlying muskiness from that Ambrette seed, the creamy touches come in, and it's very, really gorgeous. So there's Hasard. And as soon as you smell it, it smells like you're drying clothes in a dryer. I mean, It's awesome. I love that smell. I've always loved that smell. When I used to go to a laundromat and you see all of those washing or dryers drying, there's a smell. It kind of has that smell. But the Ambrette seed starts popping through. It's like almost like an equally balanced combo of sandalwood and Ambrette seed together, which Ambrette seed kind of comes off medicinal to me, which I kind of like that smell, and it's there. But there's this creamy sandalwood touch with it, all with like this cardamom on top, like aromatic cardamom. So this one's my second favorite. I think I'll probably end up getting a bottle of this very soon, but Hasard randomly is really, really lovely. Again, masculine leaning, but very, very unisex, I think. Next, we're going to go to Nouveau Monde. And Nouveau Monde basically translates to New World. And for this one, we have notes of Ivory Coast cacao, saffron, and Assam oud. Now, this one actually kind of reminded me of something else, similar to Orage, reminded me of Diptyque's Tempo. And once I smell this one, I'm kind of having a hard time opening this one, but once I smell this one, I'll let you know what it reminds me of, but I don't know if you can guess from the notes I read you, but the notes kind of do not seem similar to the other fragrances notes. So let's spray this. This to me is the most Middle Eastern one of them. Kind of smells oriental, like Montalish kind of fragrances. It has animalic touches as well. So absolutely animalic. I smell leather, but I don't know. These notes came from Parfumo because Louis Vuitton, as of this time when I'm shooting this video, doesn't have their fragrances listed on their website yet. But it has like very leathery animalic touches here. I do pick up the chocolate or cacao, but it's not a sweet chocolate, it's more a savory. And of course, saffron. Now the saffron I hear kind of comes off leathery as well. Perhaps the leatheriness is coming from saffron, but it's definitely the oud is there as well. It's very leathery, oudy cacao. So this is what I get from this. This is my third favorite. It's the one that's I think the most beast mode out of all of them. I think you might feel like Montal type, Mancera type fragrances or anything Middle Eastern. This one's probably going to appeal to you most. Check it out. But the fragrance this reminds me of, and from rumor I hear it's getting discontinued, is this reminds me of Gucci Guilty Absolute Pomme, a little bit. So they're not the same, but it has similar touches. So this is Nouveau Monde, translates to New World. Now the next one, Sur La Route, which translates to On the Road, was the first one we smelled. And as soon as I smelled it, I was like, wow, this is beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Very fresh, very spicy and aromatic. So for the notes here, you have Calabrian citron, Calabrian lemon, Calabrian bergamot, mown grass, Peru balsam, pink pepper, and nutmeg. So it's a spicy citrus. Really, really pleasing, but unfortunately, I didn't really care for the dry down on this one as much. But it starts off gorgeous. And in the dry down, I pick up some aquatic notes where it becomes sort of bit like too seaweed-like. So again, these notes are taken from Parfumo because Louis Vuitton doesn't have these notes listed. But I don't know where that note's coming from, like the seaweed, like the fishy seaweed smell. But in the top, it smells gorgeous. It's spicy, citrusy at the top, but kind of like dries down to that little aquatic touch, which kind of wasn't very pleasant for me. Now this would have actually, if I owned this fragrance, this would have made it onto the 25 aquatic and beachy fragrances video that I just put out. I mean, I like it, but again, it was not as my favorite. But when we first smelled it, it was the very first blast of smell in the private Louis Vuitton boutique room that we were invited to. It smelled great, but just that dry down kind of became a little bit too aquatic for me. But you might like this one. So this is Sur La Route, On the Road, and I'm picturing on the coast of the Mediterranean in the south of France with this fragrance. You've got all these like lemons, or it could be like Italy as well. So because it's got those Calabrian citruses in here. So that's Sur La Route. And last but not least, we have L'Immensité, and it's in here. Basically, this translates to the immensity. For notes here, we've got grapefruit, ginger, labdanum, ambroxan, and amber notes. Now this one also hinted at another very popular men's fragrance from the 90s. I'm not saying it's identical, it just hints at it. And if you know that fragrance, you might think this has similarities as well. The notes are really lovely. It's a very fresh and very mass appealing kind of fragrance, whereas the other ones that we smelled, the first three we smelled are more edgy. The last two are a little more mass appealing, whereas this one is the most mass appealing. So it's a toss up, but this might be a little too edgy for you if you're used to specific kind of fragrances. It depends on the person, but to me I found this one to be very mass appealing, and I think it's going to be universally loved by everyone. Probably this will be their biggest seller, or Sur La Route, but we'll see. But let me go ahead and spray that as well and let you know all about it. Yeah, I can smell it already. Grapefruit, ginger, spicy, and citrusy at the top, but it's a kind of a citrus that's like more grapefruity, where it has a little bit of like ginger-like quality to me to begin with. It's got a little spice to it, the grapefruit, compared to like a lemon or mandarin orange and things like that. But definitely you pick up some ambery type notes with the labdanum, and of course ambroxan is there, which gives it like this woody sea kind of a smell. I mean, it's pleasant. The one this reminds me a little bit of is Acqua di Gio from Armani, but it's not the same fragrance at all. It's definitely its unique fragrance, but that's what it hints at to me. So this I find to be the most mass appealing out of the 5. Again, all are very unisex, even though some can be a little more masculine, like Nouveau Monde. But some women like more masculine fragrances, and some men like more feminine fragrances. So you're just gonna have to go and check out which one appeals more to you than the others. But I found this one to be the most mass appealing and the least exciting to me. That's why it's at the bottom. And then Orage is the most exciting and most interesting to me because it's got that patchouli. I absolutely love patchouli. Hasard is also going to be a great one for me. I'll pick that one up next. But for now, Orage is it for me. Can you see the name Orage? Right there. So these retail for a 100 ml bottle, $240, EDP concentration, and you can only buy them at the Louis Vuitton boutique. So we have one here in San Francisco. Very, very nice people. If you are here in San Francisco and you want to go experience these, go check out my sales associate, contact GVWY. She'll help you. Very, very lovely woman, so she'll help you with fragrances there. Just make sure she's there when you're there. So go check them out, or go check them out at your own local Louis Vuitton boutiques and experience these fragrances. I think now we have something a little more interesting than the previous collection. People are going to like these a little more. Us perfumistas who are more into like more edgy fragrances, more interesting fragrances, are going to appeal to these more compared to the last batch of the women's fragrances, even though I like those. But these are going to be a little more interesting, and they're probably going to be a little more hyped by people like us who like more interesting fragrances, more niche style offerings. Anyway, that's my first impressions of the 5 fragrances in the men's fragrances collection from Louis Vuitton. I have another whole set right here. I'm going to put it in the flat box, so I'm going to send this to one lucky subscriber of this channel. Please make sure you're subscribed so that it makes it fair for everyone. Now for the giveaway, if you want to win this is a worldwide giveaway to one lucky subscriber of this channel. Please let me know which fragrance sounds the best to you, and let me know if you have anything similar to that fragrance in your collection. Please also put your country so that I can qualify you for this giveaway. Please make sure to follow the rules. Good luck with the giveaway. All the samples come to you thanks to me begging for an extra set of samples and doing this, sponsoring this giveaway myself. This is not in any way sponsored by Louis Vuitton or our Louis Vuitton boutique here. I actually paid for this bottle, and this is mine to keep. I paid with my own money, and I absolutely love it. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. Let me know, have you sampled Louis Vuitton fragrances? Have you sampled these 5 new Louis Vuitton fragrances? Please put some comments down. Let's get a conversation started. Just let me know in general which one sounds great to you, so I get to find out what some of you are interested in checking out. All right, guys, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.